My name is Scott Byer. I've been training here at Full Circle for 3.5 years. I've been doing a variety of different programming over the years. I started off doing CrossFit Full Circle programming for CrossFit, and transitioned into doing barbell, and immediately after that I took an interest in strongman training. So ever since that time, which I guess was about a year into my membership here, I took an interest into strongman, and I have been doing that ever since. I did my first contest last weekend, I guess, and that's kind of been my history here at Full Circle, so about 3.5 years. Significant injury I've had by far in my life, much less training at Full Circle, has been a hernia, specifically an umbilical hernia, where part of your abdomen has a tear in it, and there's no pretty way to say it. Your guts kind of come out, so it's not a pretty thing. And that happened in 2013, December 2013 actually, and I was actually doing squat training here, and I was going for a 5-rep max of 345 pounds. It was a new max for me, so it was really intense, and the gist is that I got injured doing that, and it took a very long time to recover from that. I guess the best way to put it is I had the injury in December of 2013, and I didn't feel much pain during the movement itself. Something just didn't feel right. I had a pop in my abdomen, and it was audible, so I could hear it, but it didn't really feel that bad. Something just felt uncomfortable. That night and a few days afterwards, I just had a lot of pain anywhere from my inner thighs all the way up to my abdomen, everywhere in between. So it was not pleasant, and it was more of a burning sensation and sharp pains, and I needed some help. So I reached out to my primary care physician, went through that process. He referred me to a physical therapist. I went through physical therapy for about 12 weeks-ish without really any answers, and not really any kind of relief. I stopped training, by the way, so I wasn't training at Full Circle at all. I thought it was just the safe bet, and I stopped training. I went through physical therapy for 12 weeks. Nothing really happened, and after that point I got referred to a specialist, which was a general surgeon, and it was very strange, to me at least. Immediately he evaluated me, and he's like, "That's an umbilical hernia," and I had that reality set in that this is very serious. I've got to take care of this, and for those that don't know what an umbilical hernia is, you just can't, it just doesn't fix itself. So it either requires surgery, and you go through that whole process of dealing with that mentally and certainly physically, and the process afterwards, which includes rehab, etc. So I chose that route, and I had that surgery in September of 2014, so last year. So, you know, if you think about my timeline, that's a good 9 months there. So that's kind of the gist of my story with that, but it was very, very, very intense. When I originally got injured and then transitioned into doing PT for that 12-ish weeks, I stopped Full Circle completely, like I mentioned, and training in general. And then when I got the official diagnosis from the general surgeon that it was going to be, was an umbilical hernia, and I was going to have surgery, I talked to my coach, Jason Struck, and he basically said, "Look, let's do everything that does not activate the core," which, for those that know even a little bit about training, your core pretty much has everything to do with any type of movement. And he worked with me to develop a program where I worked a lot of upper body stuff, from dips to presses, simple things like that. And even then, you know, some of that had to do with core training. So I did that from that June time frame where I got I got diagnosed with the umbilical hernia up to the week of surgery. So June, July, August, September, that's about 4 months there where I trained. So then I had my surgery, and immediately afterwards, I guess 4-ish weeks, I came back to the gym, and then that's where I really got hit with the reality that I needed to start back at like 10% of everything that I was at. And mentally that was kind of tough, but I think one of the things that really helped me out was just accepting that fact before I even had surgery. And when I was coming in here training and doing simple things like the dips, the body weight stuff, where I knew what I was getting myself into. But yeah, I had to go back to like 10% of everything I was doing. And that was about October of 2014, and here we are, May, June this year, and I've just been building back up. And there's some lists that I haven't even got back to post or pre-surgery, so that or pre-injury, excuse me. And I'm still kind of battling those demons, but it's just one of those things that you have to accept the fact that it's going to take time to come back to that. Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, what I would recommend to other folks is since I've gone down this path, is you have to have a mindset that you are going to have to make concessions in what you've typically done in the past of training, nutrition, etc., to accommodate for the new circumstances that you're in. And the fact is that you can always train something, whether you're at your peak certainly, or you have a devastating injury. There's always something to do. Brandon Lilly just wrote an incredible blog the other week about dealing with injury, and I would highly recommend people check that out. Brandon Lilly's a really well-respected power lifter that had a devastating injury a year or two ago. So I recommend people check that out for kind of the mindset of recommendations he has, because he's been there and been through the even worse than what I've had. But the fact is that you've got to accept the reality that you're in, that you can always train something, but you need to go consult your coach if you're working under a coach of, here's what I'm working with, how can you help me out, what can we do? That was a big part of me accepting the place that I was in and getting through that. And at the same time, just being honest with yourself that, look, you're going to have to go back to 10% or really scale back what you had. Don't try to come back too quick. You can see that in a lot of people's recovery stories, their testimonials of what they've gone through. But the fact is that you're going to have to go back way down to what you were at one point and then build back up. It's just part of the process. I feel like I'm back in full form mentally, and that's something that nobody else can do for you. That's something you have to do for yourself. But physically, again, I'm trying to come back to the place where I was before I got injured. So I still have like the sheer numbers, like when I was squatting 345 by 5, I'm still not there yet, but it's part of the journey. So hopefully in the next few months I'll be able to hit there. But a lot of people like to go back to training or just general things in life where they have goals, and that helps them prepare for things and help them have something tangible and measurable to get to. And that's what I have to do for myself, and that's kind of my benchmark right now, is to get back to all the things that I was at and then continue to move past those. Just more roadblocks than anything else. And some of the things I've accomplished, some of the things I haven't. So it's a balance of trying to work through all those things. But physically, again, still working towards some things. Mentally, definitely there.